Some of the biggest transformations you can make when building a motorcycle is swapping out the tank and also upgrading the front end from something of a sports bike, which is exactly what I'm going to do. But if you're watching my videos for the more fabrication side of things, the more custom stuff, we're getting into that too. Let's get after it. For anyone who doesn't know this, if ever you see a nut with a slice all the way around the outside, it means it's a left-hand thread. So lefty-loosey, righty-tighty is now lefty-tighty, righty-loosey. So the front end conversion that I'm doing on this bike is a set of Yamaha R6 forks, and the triple tree conversion kit is actually the retro version from Cognito Moto. They do an amazing job of everything that they do. I've had a few of their products before and I absolutely love them. That's why I'm using the retro version, because I think it looks really smart and it's going to suit this build perfectly. The entire kit has come from them, including the spacers and the ball bearings. Bearing kit that you get comes with two different size spacers, and I found the best thing to try and find out which spacer to use is just to dry fit everything first, make sure everything fits up, get a bit of an idea of the measurement that you need, and then you can work out which spacer you need, the thick one or the thin one. If you're only pre-fitting everything, don't worry too much about the grease, but if you do intend on leaving the forks on, make sure you pack those bearings properly. Don't just put a bit of grease around the outside, make sure you get a rubber glove, fill up your palm with some grease, and then just push those bearings into the grease until you see the grease come through the other side. This is the correct way to pack bearings, so you don't have to worry about them dying on you prematurely. I happen to own a little shop press, but if you don't have a press, don't stress. You can pretty much rock up to any mechanic with a 6-pack of beer and they'll press this in for you, no worries. So unfortunately, there's no gap between the top of the bottom triple clamp and the frame. It's actually touching, and I'll have to press out this bearing and press the stem out to do that. And when I press it all back in again, I'll put an extra spacer in there and that'll fix the problem. So this here is the regulator rectifier, and just behind there was the connector that connects everything together, and that's what's left of it. I'm not entirely sure why it's been eaten away, like some acid has gotten onto it or something. That's pretty bad. Sort of glad that I found that. So now I have all the bulky items off this bike, the front end converted, and another box full of motorcycle parts that I don't actually need. I guess it's time to tell you what my plan is, or at least one of the plans I have for this bike. The one item that I will be reusing is this quad lock mount. I absolutely love them and I have them on every bike. If you want to go and check them out, I'll leave a link in the description below. There are some design elements of this motorcycle tank that I chose which I really love, actually 90% of it, but there's some parts of this tank which I just feel like just doesn't work with this build. So I'm gonna change them, and I'm gonna make an aluminium tank from scratch. However, to do that, I need to create myself a wire buck. This wire buck is actually going to be the template to actually make the sheet metal parts that actually sit onto this, which will create the entire tank. This will be my first attempt of making anything quite this elaborate with sheet metal, so hopefully things go to plan. I'm sure I'm gonna make a few mistakes along the way, but the wire buck has been quite a challenge because I'm such a perfectionist. I need to get it perfect before I even think about moving to the sheet metal. I shared a photo of this wire buck to my good friend Willis and said to him, man, this is actually harder than you think to get perfect. And you know what he said to me? He said, Dan, anything that's handmade is not perfect. And I thought to myself, you know what? He's 100% right. But I'm still gonna try my best. There's a few guys that I'm learning this art of metal shaping, but there's one guy in particular on YouTube called Carl Fisher. He's over in Canada and he has a channel called Make It Custom. Highly recommend checking him out, follow him, send him some love from me, because his channel is awesome and shows you every step of the way, the beginning stages of basic tools all the way up to the advanced stuff. So the main changes that I'm making is I'm taking about 30 millimeters at the top here, at the highest point, down to nothing. So that whole top section is going to be leveled off. As you can see from the wire buck, I've already put the curved pieces in here. So I think by having that a lower tank and not sitting so proud in the air, I feel like it's going to suit the bike a hell of a lot better. If you want to see more on this build series, I'll leave it right here. And if you want to see more videos just like this one, I'll leave it right there.